5 years now. And then I started at Amazon. I sold my first item on Amazon coming up on 8 years ago. I need to know that. I need to remember the exact date because I think it's right around this time of year, 8 years ago, when I was just getting into starting college. Made my first sale on Amazon and have not had like a job since that first sale, which was pretty cool. Glad I was able to find something that actually worked after a little while. So yeah, let me know what questions you guys have as you're popping in. As a side note, the workshop last night was awesome. Really appreciate everybody who was hanging out on the live workshop on Zoom with us last night. We were getting into tons of product sourcing and yeah, it was just a super fun time, super high energy. So appreciate you guys making it out to the workshop last night. I know a bunch of you guys are making some money off the stuff we were sharing with you guys there last night as well. What's up, David? He said, what's your realistic time frame to sustain 150K a year? How much invested? So I'm going to assume you're talking 150K profit because, revenue does not pay the bills, obviously. So if you want to make 150K profit, you want to extremely safely. You could sell less than this if you are good at sourcing, that kind of thing. You're probably going to be looking at selling at least $1 million to make 150K in profit. And what that's going to break down for you in terms of input is about $400,000 to $500,000 spent on inventory. Which, if that sounds terrifying, I also did not have that when I started selling on Amazon. Just kind of grow the snowball with whatever you're starting from. But yeah, the typical return on investment. You'll spend $1, you'll sell it for $2 on Amazon. Obviously, you're not selling things for $2, but spend $1, you'll make $2 in revenue, and then you'll be making around a 20% gross margin in general. Maybe closer to 15% if you're doing high volume type plays, that kind of thing. But yeah, I know David said it sounds terrifying. Yeah, I know. I feel that, man. It was always very scary, seeing people just casually dropping, $10,000 on random stuff. But it becomes very normal over time is what you'll realize. It's kind of something you just get used to. Now it's like a bad day if I don't spend several $1,000s on shampoo and vitamins and whatever I can get my hands on. What's up? You said help, LOL. Let me know. That's a little vague. I don't know if I can mind read your problems there, but let me know what's holding you back from making money on Amazon right now, and we can get into a little bit of a conversation there. What's up, Sweet? You said what's the best model wholesaler online arbitrage? So I don't think there's a best model of selling on Amazon, or there's not even a best online business, right? The best thing you can do is the thing that you can see yourself consistently sticking with. For me, I like doing online arbitrage a lot just because it's very simple in concept, but also there's a lot of nuance and kind of complexity you can add just with hiring team to do some work for you and kind of finding some edges across different websites. Also, there's also a lot of people making money in wholesale as well. So I don't necessarily want to say that there's an absolute best thing that you have to be doing, right? Because everyone's going to be different. I'm just kind of on here talking about what I have done to find some success on online there. Let's see, what is the nature of packing and things like that. Yeah, so I mean, when you buy a product, I've been just showing this as an example. It's something we found on a clearance, sells for way more on Amazon. When you buy these products, you just put it down into the box just like this. You usually print a little barcode label to put over this. You'll put it down into a box, ship it off to Amazon, and then Amazon's going to ship those products out to your customers as they sell, basically. That's the 1,000-mile view. Yeah, let's see. You found some deals. Awesome. Yeah. See, getting rejected for ungating. So that's normal. If you're applying for brands, just add tracking information, the invoice, pictures of the item. Just show Amazon the entire picture, basically, and you'll be good to go there. What's up? You say, are you doing arbitrage and wholesale? I do mostly arbitrage. Wholesale is fine, but it's just not what I specialize in, basically. Let's see. Boxem user, awesome, happy day. Yeah. So if you're on Boxem, you can also get ungated and a bunch of stuff for free, which I'm sure you've tested that before. But if ungating's holding you back, you can just go on Boxem and get ungated and a ton of stuff for free, and then start plugging those brands into SellerAmp. I've been talking about that a lot recently, but it's just because it's cracked if you're a new Amazon seller right now. Been seeing a lot of people find some early success with that, basically. Do you need to open an LLC? Nope. I didn't have one when I started. Depends on your situation. It could be smart to do so. What I usually suggest, like, is if you have any personal assets that are significant, you need to protect, you need to limit the liability, right? It's in the name of the LLC, then probably a smart idea. I was a broke college kid when I started, so I didn't care. I just wanted to start selling stuff. Let's see. Would you say here in the near future, AI will be able to source for us? I mean, not. I don't think so personally. Some things it'll be able to do for you, but like, there's a lot of complexity that goes into arbitrage that I think is underestimated. Right? The game isn't just like looking through websites. Like, what I've seen from people who, like, I used AI to solve my Amazon business, that kind of thing. They're just reinventing tools that have existed for 10 years, right? They're just doing things like what Arbisource does, where you just like plug in a website and it shows you some products and that kind of thing. But that's existed for a long time, and that's what people are using AI for right now as well. So right now, people are just spending a bunch of money on tokens to reinvent things that already exist. It could get cool in the future, but most of the AI stuff I'm seeing is just automating things that, like, people are just paying $1,000 to Claude so that they can automate something that they already could have just paid $50 a month for, or that kind of thing. It can help you automate tedious tasks. Yeah, for sure. That's where I see AI being a lot more useful for Amazon sellers right now. Less so like, hey, populate my store full of profit. More so like, hey, AI, like, manage my email inbox and make sure like I know where all my inventory is, and make sure like everything's running smoothly so I can spend as much time as possible sourcing products, because that's what makes you the most money per hour. Getting rid of sourcing products should be the last thing you want to do, because that's the thing that makes you the most money per hour. You said account health management with AI. Yeah, that's another great application of AI. To me, like, try to figure out how to optimize everything but, or not optimize, figure out how to like outsource and like kind of speed up everything but product sourcing. Because you should be spending as much time as possible product sourcing, because that's where the money's made. You don't make the money going in and talking to Amazon, right? Like, you can let your AI or something like that do it. Let's see. Um, yeah, so let me know. I see a bunch of you guys hopping in over on TikTok and YouTube, that kind of thing. Let me know what questions you guys have about selling Amazon. I'm a full-time Amazon seller. So yeah, happy to chop it up here. And yeah, there wasn't a lot of like people just like talking about what they were doing back when I was getting started. So been doing this for several years, just kind of helping people out. Let's see, how long until you made your first sale? So the first thing I ever sold was like a used book, because I, like, when I started, I had like no money. Like, I was a college kid. So I went out to like thrift stores, scanned used books, and ended up selling used books for the first like little while in my business, like first year-ish. That's also because I thought people like us couldn't get approved to sell big name brands, which is still like a very common misconception. So I would have definitely not sold used books for as long as I had. But for me, it was like a used book that I went and found at a thrift store, and we sold it like a week or two later. Nowadays, I think it makes a lot more sense, unless you have very little money, just to jump straight in. If you guys want something to Google, auto ungated online arbitrage, right? That's basically that's going to show you the process of selling things on Amazon that you can buy in bulk that you're already approved to sell. You can kind of go from there. Let's see. What's up, Basha? You said, appreciate you, man. Yeah, been working hard on that. Yeah, we down like 40 pounds or so since last year. You gotta be healthy, and you gotta be making some money, right? All things are important. Let's see. How do you get past store bans besides RA? Been banned by a few of them already. Hey, if you're getting banned by retail website, that means you're doing something right. Some retail websites are just not gonna let you spend tens of thousands of dollars there, and that's fine. I don't typically waste a ton of time trying to get unbanned at websites. I'll just go spend a bunch of money on the websites that let me spend money. Because what you'll also find is, let's say you go, and this has happened, right? I'll spend, $20,000 on a website during a month, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to cancel your orders now." And I'll just come back 60 days later, 30 days later, and place more orders, and their system's like forgotten about me. You'll find that is going to be the case on a lot of items as well. What was your first job? First job ever was like being like a soccer coach, like refereeing soccer games. That was like when I was like 14. Yeah, my 16th birthday, I went and applied for a job at like my local Walgreens. Like, I've always been someone wanting to make my own money and that kind of thing. And then I started a online side hustle in like 2018. Tried a bunch of things. I tried drop shipping. I tried like Instagram theme pages. It's not really as big of a thing as it used to be. A bunch of different side hustles, right? Like affiliate marketing, and then started selling stuff on Amazon, and that actually made sense. Like, it was a pretty straightforward business, and it just made sense to me. I was able to keep just kind of keeping at it there. Let's see. What's up? Milk said, when you hired virtual assistants, do you find it difficult to find people who do what you wanted? I mean, hiring people is always hard. Yeah, no matter what level you're hiring for. Um, yeah, for me, like when I first started hiring my first like virtual assistants and employees, it's just like showing them what I was already good at so that I could not do that task, and then I can go work on things that I was not quite as good at, which typically is going to be product sourcing, right? So you want to hire people to do like managing your store and that kind of thing, so that I can go spend time learning how to source from new websites and calling suppliers and that kind of thing if you want to get into wholesale, right? So that'd be like the first things you want to start hiring people to help you with is anything that's like a low value task. Like, you know, there's a lot of things in your business. Pretty common like exercise for all like entrepreneurs of all scales is to just like write down what you do in a day, and then on that list you'll probably realize like, why am I spending my time, you know, answering Amazon customer messages, right? Let me just hire a virtual assistant, or these days, like, let me just see if I can have AI help me answer some of these messages and that kind of thing. Yeah, so just always be trying to figure out how to make yourself worth more per hour. And as an Amazon seller, that's going to mean, how do I spend more time sourcing and less time doing the boring stuff? Um, let's see. Yeah, so keep the questions rolling here. Let's see. You said, at what point on the charts do you purchase an item? So um, there's a lot of things you can look for in terms of like knowing if an item's going to be good to purchase or not. Um, yeah, it's kind of a detailed conversation. I have a full checklist of everything that I personally look for. It's a free checklist. Everything that I personally look for, and that's part of the free course that's linked up in the description or down below. That's what I would just say to check out if you're wanting to see like everything that I look for. You know, how much profit. You know, what should the chart look like? How much? You know, how many sellers should be on the listing? That kind of thing. There's a lot of nuance. Like if you have specific questions within that, we can definitely chop it up. But that'd be a good just like free resource to check out there. Um, let's see. Have you ever had any success selling anything for less than 20 bucks? Yeah, for sure. There can be a lot of good items in like the $14+ price point. It gets a little bit trickier under that unless you're buying stuff super cheap, which you can do. It just tends to be a little bit harder to find. But yeah, I sell a lot of products that are, let's say I buy it for $3, $4, that kind of thing, and then it sells for 14, 15 bucks on Amazon. The only rule of thumb, so typically when you're sourcing stuff to sell, you want to pay half of what you want to sell it for. If you're selling things for under $20, that tends to turn into buying it for a third of what you want to sell it for. Is what I would just kind of look for in your numbers when you're like generally figuring out if something could be worth it or not there. Let's see. Do you source most of your products in the U.S. or overseas? 100% of the products I buy are from the U.S. They're probably not manufactured in the U.S. Obviously, some of it's going to be like made in China, but I'm buying them from big retailers, big wholesalers, that kind of thing. Right now, it's pretty much all just big websites. Sometimes I'll like go to local retail stores and pick up some stuff. If there's like a limited time item or something like that that's like super high profit, that can be worth it as well. Let's see. Is Jellycat tough to get ungated? So pretty much any brand that has an ungating application is roughly going to be equally difficult to ungate, just because it goes through the same exact process, right? So if you want to get approved to sell something, you know, big name brands, that kind of thing. Number one, just run your store go to Boxem and run the bulk ungate scan. That'll get you ungated in a bunch of brands for free right now. Sometimes I'll mention that on stream and somebody will come back and say, oh, I got ungated in like 200 brands for free, that kind of thing. We were doing that on a little bit of that on the workshop last night. And then if that doesn't get you ungated in the brand for free, you can just submit your invoice you said you wanted to sell Jellycat. So you can just buy from Jellycat and submit that to Amazon there. Let's see. Appreciate you, Joe. Let's see. If you buy 10 units from Target to get ungated, can you sell the same product sourced from Ollie's? Yeah. Yeah. So like if you guys want to go out to retail stores, like you mentioned, going to Ollie's and that kind of thing, you just need to get ungated with an online receipt, just because that Ollie's receipt doesn't have your personal information on it. And that's what Amazon's typically going to want to see on those invoices there. So yeah, see, a bunch of guys hopping on TikTok and that kind of thing. So once again, just let me know if you guys have any questions about selling on Amazon. Personally, I just buy stuff from big websites and resell it for more. And that's been my full-time income for like 5 years now. Let's see, ungated for free. How is that? Yeah. So go into Boxem. You guys can do it for free. It's free for 2 weeks. Go into Boxem, Boxem. Go to the bulk ungating feature, and then you can just run the default list, or you can start plugging in just giant lists of products that you want to ungate for you. And it's going to basically spam all those brands and say, hey, Amazon, can we get ungated to sell this for free? and they're either going to say yes or no. And a lot of them they're going to say yes on. So even if you're brand new, you'll get like 50 to 100 brands the first time you do it. If you've been selling for a little while, I've seen people get upwards of 500 to 1,000 brands in their first 15 20 minutes of using the tool. It's pretty cool. See, what's up, Cheeto? How you doing, man? It's good to see some familiar names. And yeah, for anybody who's been on the streams and stuff before, like I'm seeing some familiar names like Matt over here on YouTube, seeing Cheeto on TikTok. Let me know how your business progress is going too. I like doing just kind of check-ins with you guys, seeing some familiar faces. I know some of you guys are probably making your first sales and that kind of thing. How do you hunt for products? There's a lot of ways. My favorite way, I'm assuming you're a brand, like probably a newer seller, if not brand new. My favorite way to source products right now is plugging in auto ungated brands into SellerAmp advanced search. Basically, what that's going to do is just show you a big giant filtered list of all the best products in brands that you're already approved to sell for free. And then you can use the same exact like sourcing methods on brands that you have to get approval for, which I would recommend because you want to expand into things that have some kind of moat. But selling an auto ungate right away is great because you can make a sale like now, right? Rather than having to wait a few weeks, if you're lucky, maybe a couple days, right? With auto ungate products, you can make a sale in the next week, basically. And if you guys are like really curious about this stuff, just go to YouTube and just look up auto ungated online arbitrage. It's kind of a jargony thing to Google there, but auto ungated online arbitrage, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's see, is there ungating with Walmart? Yeah, if you're selling on Walmart, Walmart also asks you to get approved to sell like specific brands and stuff. From time to time, it's easier and harder than Amazon. Walmart's more the Wild West. Amazon's been around for a while. Walmart's still a little up and down. How important is sell-through rate for you? 90 days. Do you sell any FBM or mostly FBA? Sell-through rate is super important, right? Because that shows you like the health of your inventory. Because you could have a business that has $1 million in inventory and you sold $1,000 last month, right? Like you'd have a massive cash flow problem, or vice versa. Let's say you sold $1 million last month and you have no inventory left, right? Like you got to be a little bit better at restocking inventory. So for me, I am usually trying to keep my inventory valuation, so the total value of all the inventory I own, right around how much I sold that last month. Ideally under that number, and I just continue to pump in like high volume stuff. If that number starts to get a lot higher than my monthly sales, I know I have like a stagnant inventory problem. Yeah, there's a lot of like complex things you can look into. That's just kind of like the basics of what I'm looking for on that. And if you don't know how much money you have tied up in inventory, just go to the Boxem inventory page, and it'll show you based on like your cost of goods sold and that kind of thing, how much you have spent on inventory and how much you're expected to sell based on what's in your store. Let's see, what products do you suggest if you want to start with a minimum budget? So like you can sell literally anything, right? So like if you have very limited budget, like you said, you can go to like local retail stores or look at clearance sections online. So stuff like this, right? This is a clearance sticker. I don't know if it's going to show on YouTube, but it was like $2, right? And it sells for way more on Amazon. That'd be like the best place to start if you have very little money. It's like clearance sections, that kind of thing. Otherwise, just auto ungated products in general are a good place to start. If your Amazon seller account is listed under the business, will they take a target invoice with your name? Make sure the addresses match. If the address is matched, then you should be good. The Amazon just wants to make sure that the business info on the invoice matches what they expect, basically. Do you cross list to other platforms? Is it mainly Amazon? I saw some of my stuff on Walmart as well. There's no reason not to just check and see like, hey, can I sell this exact same thing on Walmart? So I'll just pull up like a profitable item that we're already about to sell on Amazon and check WAMP, and that shows me like the same data for Walmart. And then I can make a decision from there. Walmart's definitely a much smaller marketplace, so you'll generally find the things that sell super fast on Amazon can still sell fast on Walmart, but not quite as quick, basically. How much did it take to start? I had like $1,500 in my bank account. That was like my entire net worth when I started, and then just kind of continued to snowball things. I was not one of the lucky ones who had like tens of thousands of dollars to start their business with, like I see some of you guys do. Do you have any luck selling unbranded products? Be careful with that. Like if it's labeled as like a generic brand on Amazon, or just make sure like when you're looking at the listing, make sure that the brand name is correct, or if it's intentionally like a generic brand, don't sell anything that says generic. That basically means like the listing was like kind of gray market or black market listing. And when you're sourcing on like SellerAmp will have a little warning that tells you like, hey, the brand name doesn't look right here. Like there's a potential account health complaint would be like the worst case scenario there. If you look at a listing that says brand generic, you sell the product. The worst case scenario would be you get like a copyright infringement complaint, and then you'd have to go through the appeal and that kind of thing. Let's see. What's up, Hayden? You said you're on the workshop last night. Awesome. Appreciate you hanging out. Also curious on thoughts on Prep Center for beginners. Yeah, I mean, like if you're in a state that pays sales tax, there's a very good reason to just ship stuff to a Prep Center. Because I don't know, based on the profile pic, you're somewhere on the coast probably, or that was just a vacation maybe. But if you're paying sales tax in your state, instead of paying that 7% sales tax, I'm just gonna use 10% sales tax for easy number. On a $50 item, you might pay $5 in sales tax, or you can ship it to a Prep Center in Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, pay $0 in sales tax, pay them $1 to do the work for you, and then you're good. Let's see, Florida. Okay, cool. So that is you are on the coast there. So if you're in Florida, you don't pay sales tax on groceries. I think vitamins are also sales tax free for you. But if you want to buy other categories, like you could save money using Prep Centers. And there's videos on. I made some videos on YouTube, like breaking down how to get Prep Centers and that kind of thing. And you mentioned you're in the roadmap, so you can check out the module there as well. Let's see. I need to watch the Temu video. You're leaning that way. Yeah, that's been an interesting one too. I've been cross listing some stuff on Temu. I didn't realize people would even buy name brand stuff on Temu until I had like someone who works at Temu like approach me and be like, hey, we want you selling on stuff on Temu. So she kind of helped me put a little training together for you guys on how we started selling stuff on Temu. Let's see. Didn't know getting a Prep Center would save you money. Yeah. So watch, like I was saying, Hayden, watch the Prep Center video in the roadmap there. And then you, like, since you're in there, you have the partnered rates as well. Like you get 10% off prep, which is pretty big over time. If you have an EIN, you wouldn't pay tax anyway. So an EIN doesn't make you sales tax exemption. An EIN just registers your business with the government, basically. You are right that a resale permit would exempt you from sales tax from some sources, but what's important to note is that a lot of websites don't accept resale permits unless you're a charity. So like, for example, Walmart will take a resale permit. Lowe's, they will take a resale permit. If you try to go to Walgreens and you submit a resale permit, they're going to say, nope, we only want charities that are sales tax exempt. So the way you can get sales tax exempt from those websites is shipping to a Prep Center in a state with no sales tax. Which you can just Google like Prep Center Delaware, Prep Center Montana, that kind of thing. Have you sourced from Ollie's, sent it into FBA, and then gotten a cease and desist? So you might get some letters and stuff from brands. The way you can avoid that is just by making sure that you're selling listings that the brand doesn't already sell. Make sure there's like a history of some other resellers on that listing, or if that listing's kind of dead, you look at some other listings in the same brand and be like, oh, hey, there's 3 sellers on this and 5 sellers on this one and 8 sellers on this, and not like every single listing in that brand has 1 seller. It's a good indicator that brand might be like kind of controlling their Amazon presence. But on the same side, like if you get letters from brands, I generally just ignore them personally. I've had like literally hundreds of them, and one time it turned into an IP complaint, and we beat the IP complaint on the first try. So like, it's like a calculated risk at the same time. Let's see. Not for a little while, Def. That was definitely like an awesome, last night only type of thing. When starting out doing FBM, how do you avoid a personal address on shipping labels? You can get like a local UPS box or something like that as a return address. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be, there's going to always have to be a return address on those labels. So if you're like really freaked out about that, you could always get like a small warehouse, that kind of thing as well, if you're scaling FBM, but it doesn't really matter. Can you explain what transparency listings are? Yeah, so a transparency code is like a little QR code that's going to be on the product. What the transparency codes do is help the brand know if like someone's selling like counterfeit items on Amazon. So if a listing you want to sell, before you list it, it'll say like, hey, this item is transparency enabled, that kind of thing. Usually be like really fast sellers in brands that are already like kind of controlled on Amazon. So you'll just want to avoid listings like that, or buy it and then make sure that that little QR code is on it. Sometimes it is. Let's see. Didn't realize you were checking applications. Oh, cool. You got approved to sell something like 2 years ago and didn't even realize it, based on the yeah, 2024. How can you use that approval? Yeah, so now that means you applied to sell groceries a while ago. So now you can sell most grocery brands on Amazon, with the exception of some premium brands might ask you for like a further proof of authenticity, that kind of thing. So when you get ungated in grocery, you can sell, some smaller spice brands and coffee brands and that kind of thing, for example. But if you want to sell Starbucks, then they're going to ask you and say, hey, we want proof that you buy Starbucks stuff specifically from legitimate retailers. That'll be kind of how it breaks down there. What does profit margin look like? Yeah, so I shoot for like 20% gross margin. It's actually been a little bit higher than that in the last week or two. Been doing some nice changes to sourcing. And then for me personally, I hire a team to do all the sourcing, all the shipping, like the entire process of business. I'm just making sure things are running nice and smooth. So I shoot for like a 10% net margin after I pay people to do the entire business for me. If you want to work hard and make 20% margins, then you can totally do that as well. 20% net would be impressive, to be fair. Probably closer to like 15 to 17 is what we'd be looking at, after software and prep center expenses, anything like that. It really just depends on how much you're going to outsource. But if you want to see exact profit, 5 to 10%. So 5% would be pretty bad. That'd be like a wholesale business at like operating at massive scale. Like you don't want to be at 5% as an online arbitrage seller. But if you guys want to see like 20% net is doable, man. I don't know what to tell you there. If you want to see like an actual profit breakdown, I made a YouTube video the other day. There was like one of the recent weeks, we'd sold like 50 grand. So I was like, let me just break down exactly like how much I spent on inventory, how much I spent on fees, shipping, software, employees, prep centers, all that good stuff. So just look up the Fields of Profit YouTube channel and you can check that video out. Yeah, that was a cool one, just kind of breaking down exactly what profit looks like. Yeah, and I think net that week was actually, I'm not going to spoil it. Go watch the video. There's a lot of good details and stuff in that video. Let's see. You heard that Q3 is the best time to ungate. What do you think? So I would say every quarter besides Q4 is where Amazon is the least strict on stuff like that. Just because during the Christmas rush, like they don't want people getting like fake stuff under the Christmas tree or anything like that. Yeah. Let's see. You mentioned one of the videos you're watching that you may have to buy from some certain brands to get ungated in that brand. Yeah, so like some brands you get approved to sell for free. And then some brands, so like Boxem will find all those brands that are ungated for free for you. And then some brands, let's say you want to sell Dove soap, right? Amazon's not going to let you walk in and just list Dove soap because they'd be worried about you selling fake stuff. So you just apply for that. And then I wouldn't worry about getting ungated in specific brands to like prepare for the opportunity. Just find profitable opportunities, and then if you are gated, use the invoice from wherever you're about to source it from. That way you're not like wasting money on things that you might find one day. Like you can two birds with one stone type of thing. Do you source from Alibaba? Nope. No reason to. I just when you're selling name brand stuff that already sells, there's no reason to do that. How are you managing cash flow? Do you have a line of credit? I've used a line of credit through Amazon once. I don't really need to anymore just because we've built up plenty of cash from selling on Amazon at this point. Yeah, I mean, the main thing is just like be on top of your credit card dates. That was like really, really key for me when we were super limited on capital, was just making sure that the credit card dates coming up and that kind of thing, like we would definitely have enough money in the accounts and that kind of thing by then. The equation that I always followed was to make sure that my credit card balance never exceeded what was already in my checking account plus what Amazon owed me in the next 2 weeks. That's more conservative than some people go, but I don't want to risk any like, missing a credit card payment or anything like that, especially when it's like a very, when the numbers get bigger, you don't want to get trapped, right? So that was like the equation that I always followed, just stay a little bit safer there. What do you suggest for a new seller who's gated on most stuff? So go get ungated in a bunch of brands on Boxem for free, and then start plugging those brand names into SellerAmp Advanced Search, and then you'll be looking at a filtered list of tons of ungated products that are also meeting all the filters you want to sell. And if that sounds like rocket science, then there's plenty of recent videos on the YouTube channel you can just go watch. And that shows you exactly step by step, like the 15-minute version of what I just described, because it's obviously hard to explain with just your voice if you've never, especially if you're like brand new to Amazon there. Said you used to sell on Amazon about 10 years ago. You came back. It's a gated community now. If you sold on Amazon 10 years ago, you're going to have some opportunities that new people don't. So you are right on some of that, but also like there's so many new ways, like the Boxem ungating tool. There's so many new ways to get ungated and things way faster. So you just got to, like, as with any business, right? The thing you did 10 years ago is not going to work the same. It might work on some level, but like, yeah, it's just I don't know. Let me know if there's a business that people have been doing the exact same thing for 10 years and making more money than they used to. All business is about being evolvable, evolving, that kind of thing. That's the fun of it to me. Just kind of always solving new problems there. What's the channel on YouTube? So same username. So if you guys are on TikTok, especially, and you want to see like I was talking about, I made a video like revealing actual profit, that kind of thing from a specific week, showing you how I made it, what all the money went to, that kind of thing. I've also got a free course. Just look up Fields of Profit on YouTube. Fields of Profit sourcing, Fields of Profit free course, whatever you're trying to learn. Let's see, where did you find the free stuff you mentioned? Yeah, so same thing. So you can just go to Fields of Profit on YouTube, or go up here as a free course, or down below if you guys are on YouTube. Free course is down below as well. Let's see. Do you have a video on YouTube that will get you selling your first product? Yep. So that's like the majority of the videos I'll make, where I walk you through the entire process of, hey, if you're a brand new seller, go click these buttons, run these filters on SellerAmp, and you'll be looking at a list of stuff that at least is a good opportunity for you to look into there. Let's see. Seeing some brands that don't match the product. Are you seeing the same? Do you take the risk? So whenever you sell a product, just make sure, like, the easy litmus test, if you're not sure if you should sell something on Amazon, number one, is the brand name correct? If it is, number two, if I bought the same thing on Amazon, would I be happy with whatever I'm about to ship the customer? Right? If it passes those two things, it's generally going to be a safe product. Now, there's obviously tons of smaller things you can check, but those are the big things to just at least keep you out of trouble as a new seller. Invoice from the retailer has to be under your company's name or as your personal name. Okay. Sometimes, like, I usually check out like PayPal and that kind of thing. Sometimes, like, it'll throw my name on there for some reason. The thing that is more important is your address. So make sure that your address matches your seller account on your invoices. And if you use like a prep center, just make sure the billing address matches your Amazon seller account, or at least like have a contract with your prep center, that kind of thing. That can help too. Let's see. Can you use a Pulse? I don't know what Pulse TV is, but if it's a legitimate retailer and it has your address on it, then that should help you get ungated there. Let's see. Appreciate. Yeah, for sure. Neo, glad it was helpful there. Let's see. How much inventory is required to do the business? As much as you want. Obviously, the more inventory you have, the more you're going to sell. Unless you buy terrible inventory, of course. But yeah, like it takes money to make money in inventory-based business for sure. So for every $100 you spend, expect to sell $200 in revenue, assuming you're sourcing like standard products. Bad products will obviously be lower than that. Great products will be higher than that. But that's what you'll see kind of on average. So I checked it. I haven't checked it today, but yesterday I checked. The last week we had done 52K in sales. And to do that, we spent $25,500 on inventory. So it was really close to that 50% mark. I haven't checked what it is today on the last week, but that was what the stats were looking at yesterday. Just like a reasonable expectation setting there. Is it okay to sell items when the brand is on the listing but has other sellers as well? So that's like a personal risk type thing. I don't do that because there's always a chance that the brand might start caring. But some people disagree with me and they take the risk. So it's kind of a personal risk tolerance there. Applying for a brand, and it says at least one purchase from a manufacturer, and then it says show at least 100 units. So you should just do 10 units and submit till approved. You might have a slightly higher success rate if you're buying like 100 of them. From what I've seen, maybe a little bit higher success rate. Did you say you recommended Prep Center for a brand new seller? You say you emphasize brand new, you put brand new exclamation mark. If you're in a state with really high sales tax, then it's not a horrible idea. I wouldn't recommend never seeing any of your inventory ever, because you do learn a lot just like making the first shipments yourself. And especially if you always go prep center, you can never take advantage of FBM opportunities, which are a really good way to like at least get you kind of off the ground as an Amazon seller. Because you'll be able to, let's say you buy 20 units of something and you want to send it into Amazon FBA. Well, why don't you just pull back 3 or 4 units of it, list those FBM so that you're making sales while the stuff's on its way to the warehouse, right? That's like kind of the basic example of like an advantage that comes with shipping things to yourself, because your prep center is obviously not gonna do an FBM flow for you. Some prep centers will actually, but it's fairly expensive usually, and it kind of changes your sourcing decisions. What would be a good starting inventory investment? I started with like $1,500. That was my entire net worth at the time. I would say if you have less than $1,000, it's probably not the best business to start right now. You'd probably want to do something more cash flow focused, service based business, or even just drive Uber Eats for a few weeks to build up some money to start a business that requires money. But yeah, you probably want to have like $1,000 to get going. Let's see. How can you find good products? So yeah. So I've seen a lot of like beginner questions and stuff. So if you guys want to see like exact step-by-step process for free, just go up in the bio on TikTok and click the Launchpad free course. You can also just go to the Fields of Profit YouTube channel, and there's tons of videos on my channel that show you how to source profitable products. You can also Google auto ungated online arbitrage, and that'll show you how to source things that you're already approved to sell right now. So I'm going to do a quick lightning round here, and then we'll probably wrap up for today. When you get ungated for one product in a category, we unlock the entire category of just the brand. So if you get ungated in a brand within a category, you can already sell that category. But you might have to ungate other like premium brands in that category. You buy 10 of 3 different items all in the same order and then submit the same order. Yeah. Technically, the way the stuff is worded on Amazon, you could buy 10 different invoices with 1 unit each and then submit that. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. You can definitely like submit multiple documents at once. So 3 to 4K should turn into 6 to 8K revenue with 20 to 30% profit. The only thing I would change is I would expect a 15 to 20% gross profit margin. 30% profit would be pretty high. You totally can, but if you're like, based on the question, you're probably brand new. You're probably not going to start with like insanely high margin, like amazing products. You'll find them for sure, but I wouldn't count on that being like the average, just so you have like some reasonable expectations. So yeah, let's take the low estimate. You said you have $3,000 to spend in 45 to 60 days, depending on how good your inventory is. You should be pretty much sold out. That will be $6,000 in revenue. And then I would expect you to make about $1,000 in profit on that, somewhere around there. Just kind of setting like reasonable expectations. Shipping advice. I mean, kind of vague, but like, yeah, as far as FBA, just kind of take it all, throw it all into Box, and that'll make it faster. Sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up for the day here. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm live this time, pretty much every week at 3 p.m. Central. I was a little bit late today, so my bad on that for those of you guys that were regulars. But yeah, this time 3 p.m. Central, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then go check out the YouTube channel and the free course. All that's in the description or up in my bio if you guys are on TikTok. And yeah, appreciate everybody popping on in today, and I will talk to you guys.